Do we need to mute ourselves?
No. Guys, good evening, and thank you for coming to our Ask Me Anything, our 6:15 session. We are super excited to have all of our future students and parents, any family members that are with us tonight. We're really excited to have you join us. Tonight, we're going to be hearing from our carpentry, our electrical technology, our air conditioning, refrigeration, and our facility management / masonry instructors. And so they'll all have an opportunity here in just a little bit to give you just a little more information about their programs and what they have to offer and what you will be learning in those programs. But I just want to give you just a few little things, just kind of information wise before we get to that. So again, tonight's going to be just a 30-minute session. We want to respect your time. We want to get your questions answered. And so if you have any questions, we invite you to put those questions in the question and answer tab at the bottom of your screen, and we will get those questions answered from our instructors. We want to hear from you. We want to make sure that this time is useful for you, so we encourage you to put those questions in that session. Another thing that we want to invite you to look at is our meridiantech.edu/visit page. And that on that page you will see Ask Me Anything, a place for you to get information about this evening's events. But then also you're going to find a 360 tour of our facilities and of our programs. And our marketing department has gone around to each one of our programs, and they've shot video where you can go in and see our classroom. You can see our laboratory areas. You can click on a link that has an interview with a student and an interview with our instructor. Find out additional information about our program. And so again, that is on the meridiantech.edu/visit page. You can find that information and hopefully answer any questions that you might have. Again, we just want to thank you all for coming. And if you have any questions, please put those in the question and answer box, and we'll get those questions answered this evening. I would like to just introduce our instructors. We have Mr. Brett Pickens. He is our facility management and masonry instructor. We have Mr. Travis Snowden. He is our air conditioning and refrigeration instructor. Mr. Wayne Ford is our electrical technology instructor, sorry. And Mr. Cy Bowles is our carpentry instructor. And so I'm just going to allow each one of them to tell just a little bit about themselves and a little bit about the program that can just give everybody just an idea of what they have to offer. So Mr. Bowles, we'll start with you. And if you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your program. Oh, Mr. Bowles, you're going to have to unmute your mic. There we go.
There we go. Now we're going. Cy Bowles, I've been teaching for several years. I love the trade, and one of the things I love about out here is I get to share what I know with others that are eager to learn it. Fantastic program. We teach two aspects, one being framing, and that covers everything from a raw slab up through exterior finishes. And then on the inside, we get into all aspects of finishing out the house, hanging doors and running trim, and we spend a lot of time learning how to build cabinets.
Okay.
This year we have an on-site project that we're working on, and it has been a little bit of a struggle with the hybrid enrollment, but students are still eager, and we're playing the game, and we're rocking and rolling with it, and enjoying the time out there on the project.
Okay, Mr. Ford, can you tell us a little bit about electrical technology and a little bit about yourself?
I can. Thanks for that question, Scott. Really, I've got over 20 years out in the field running my own company, and really got to a point where I wanted to not necessarily chase the money, but to help some students out. So I got involved in electrical tech here at Meridian here about 8 years ago, And we have seen some great stories come out of here of students that came in, didn't know anything coming into the program, just like a lot of the students out there. They come in and they gain those things that are needed to get out there and be gainfully employed. So there's a lot of success stories that come out of here. We teach the residential and the commercial side of things. The commercial is enough where it allows them to step into an industrial setting if they choose to. But right now what we're concentrating on is we're concentrating on the residential side and the commercial side. This is going to give them a very good foothold into getting into the electrical industry. This also, the training that they receive here also helps them go ahead and get ready for their journeyman's tests as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ford. Mr. Snowden, can you tell us a little bit about air conditioning and refrigeration, what you do in that class?
Yes. In this class, we cover most of, we have two different programs. One's installer and one would be a technician. Basically in here, we'll learn several facets from the air conditioning and refrigeration areas. Everything from working on the small, let's say ice boxes up to a walk-in cooler. And then we go into more of the residential areas. We have residential units here that we work on. We also have some light commercial stuff that we do, and then we work on installation of ductwork, how the different types and how to get it installed.
Okay, awesome. Mr. Pickens, tell us a little bit about masonry and facility management.
Okay, thank you. As I explain this, just to make sure you know, there are two programs that I represent, masonry and facilities management. And I'll talk about masonry a little bit first. It's a morning class session, and it involves, if you think about building something with brick or rock or stone or tile or whatever like that, it's hands-on. We cover every aspect of masonry you can imagine, from maybe building a mailbox to building a high-rise building. So there's a lot of things in between that. We gain the basic skills in those areas and then move into projects, hands-on projects that represent each of the materials and the methods. In the facilities management program, it's a really incredible program as well. We teach 6 different areas in actually maintaining a building. And the students get a lot of experience with hand tools, equipment, methods, anything from fixing a drywall hole to replacing an electrical outlet to troubleshooting different kinds of plumbing and working on plumbing and even HVAC, air conditioning, refrigeration. So it's a really broad program, and it's just a one-year program that represents a lot of different areas, but it's an extremely exciting area for students to learn a lot about different things.
Okay, awesome. Well, Mr. Pickens, that kind of leads me into my next question. And again, if any of our students have questions, drop that into the question and answer tab, and we'll get those questions answered by our instructors this evening. But Mr. Snowden, can you tell us just a little bit about like the hands-on projects that you do in your program, maybe kind of like what a typical day would be like for our students in air conditioning or refrigeration?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Scott. Basically, in here, the hands-on stuff that we do, we'll go through all the different, everything from working with copper to working sheet metal. We do electrical boards. We have to learn how electricity works. So a typical day in here, all of the students, they work at their own pace. So they have a plan of study that they follow. And on that plan of study, there is labs that you have to go out into the shop and do. So a typical day could be that student come in here and they go out to change a compressor on a unit, or they'll come in and they have to recover the refrigerant from one of our units. It could be whatever is called for during those areas, and we have we follow all the areas. The students are able to go ahead and test for their EPA exam, which allows them to handle refrigerants that we have. That's one of the bigger things that we need to do. And then we also, we're trying to get you ready for that journeyman's test as well. We are licensed to the state of Oklahoma. You have to have a mechanicals license to do air conditioning here in the state of Oklahoma. So we work toward that as well. So we do have, basically we have testing in the classroom, and then we also have testing, or we have labs that you have to do out in the lab. So we try to mix that and add a good blend for us.
Okay. All right, Mr. Pickens, you kind of hit on that a little bit with facility management. What are some hands-on projects that your masonry students do, and facility management? And then what's kind of a typical day for your students?
That's a really good question. The things that we do at Meridian overall are just so incredible and exciting. I am so 1000% behind what we do here at Meridian. And so to put it into words sometimes is hard, but a typical day, the students in my class and in both classes, really, we come in and you get some information about the subject that we're on at the very beginning, just a few minutes. Sometimes it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so. The rest of it is majority hands-on. And so in the masonry class, there's a tremendous amount of teamwork, as well as you have to visualize, look at plans, and then actually construct things from the plans and the instruction that you have with the basic skills that you're learning as you go along. And you actually build on, each skill builds on itself, and it just kind of, eventually you're able to start out with a few bricks and then actually build a building. And then facilities management class is a lot like that, except we cover so many areas that we actually get tons of different skills in various areas. And the students actually are very engaged every day. It's almost something new every day. So if you like variety, it is absolutely constantly getting a new skill, practicing it, moving on to the next, because we have to cover a lot. Plus it's some of the things that are relatively short term as far as learning, and then you can just move on, and then the skills build on themselves as well.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Mr. Bowles, can you tell us kind of just a typical day? You said you have a project going on right now in your classroom. Just kind of tell us kind of what your students will be doing on a typical day in your program.
You bet. Weather permitting, we go to the job site every day and work on different aspects of that. We're currently wrapping up wall framing and sheathing installation, and then we'll start very shortly on installing ceiling joist and everything else, from there on up, ceiling joists and rafters and beams and all that kind of fun stuff. But our primary focus when we have a project like that going on is, weather permitting, go to the job site every day, and I run it like a job site. We start, at the classroom with, different assignments and, who's doing what. And it's every day is a learning aspect or learning opportunity. You might be building on skill sets that you learned a day or two before, but then there's always another little hill to climb, and that's what's really one of the really neat things about the project.
Okay, and finally, Mr. Ford, tell us, with electrical technology, kind of what are some of the hands-on projects that you do, and what's a typical day for your students?
Well, I want to just kind of say that, students coming into the program, don't have any time working with electricity. A lot of them don't. We have a few that do, but we start every student out at the same level where they come back in. They're working on projects, there's no power to them. And I know a lot of parents out there, they worry about their student, coming in and maybe getting injured working in that. So I want to say up front, all precautions have been taken in the shop. So we use the ground fault circuit interrupters. And then the student starts out with no power, they're working projects. And so basically it's that pancaking, where they work up to getting up to the point where they're applying power to it. They're working on their troubleshooting skills, testing. finding out where their problems are. Troubleshooting is a big thing in this industry, and as well as in the HVAC industry. If you're a good troubleshooter, you can write your own ticket. I would say in our class, we are about 52% labs out in the shop and about 48% testing inside. That's going to give the student more time out in the shop, more hands-on, and that's really what we're looking for. We want the students to be able to get out on the job site once they graduate from Meridian and be ahead of the game. They can get out there and they can be so much further ahead than somebody else. Everything we've kind of found at this point is that the students are stepping out and they are finding employment, and they are finding good jobs out there. They're able to go out. Some of the students decide that they want to go into the JATC, which is going to be a union electrician position. And what we're kind of finding is that once they get out of the course here, they're able to go right into the JATC. They're able to pass that union test and start out about $18 an hour. So open shop's going to pay a little bit less, but these students that go into the JATC are finding that they can step right into that role and fill that position. So I feel really good about what Meridian offers through this electrical program out here.
Well, Mr. Ford, you kind of led me into my next question, so thank you. And this is one that is going to talk about our students after graduation. Mr. Bowles, what kind of careers do a lot of your students go into, or what are kind of their future paths that they take whenever they graduate from your program?
The construction industry that we train for it's broad. I mean, a lot of them will go into, in framing, or into, being a trim carpenter, or have had several go into, work in cabinet making shops. And I say that in simplicity, but there's some contractors out there that have several students working for that, have found a real niche in remodeling as well as new construction. And they have, taken the skill sets that they've learned here as far as new construction, and then been able to apply those in the remodeling industry. Once you peel back the paint and the sheetrock, you can kind of start undoing things and then start fixing them in the remodeling industry. There's a huge array of job opportunities out there, even in just the specialized industry of installing windows and doors. There's a huge opportunity out there for that, to go out and either work for a specialty contractor, or even some of our local lumberyards have those skills or those trades or those installations that they offer, and have had students working in those fields.
Sure. Okay. Mr. Pickens, for your students when they graduate, what are some of the career paths and some of the things that they do after they graduate from both of your programs?
Well, part of the great part of Meridian is the fact that we have actual industry support, and both of the programs, I mean, all the construction programs I know have really tremendous support. So what that means is that we have connections in industry with actual companies that hire students. And we have several companies actually come in and recruit or try to recruit our masonry students right out of the program to go right to work. So like Mr. Bowles was saying, and Mr. Ford, the students actually can step right out of the program into the job site if you choose to. There's tons of opportunities in construction. It's not going away. And what we're trying to do is get you some skills. Another big part of the masonry is 7 out of 10 masons nationwide are self-employed. So there's a huge opportunity in masonry for self-employment, from being a small contractor to actually repairing work, or actually a big contract that builds buildings. So, and then in the facilities management program, there are so many opportunities, it's almost unfathomable, but anything in apartment construction or apartment maintenance, some of the manufacturing facilities like Ditch Witch and so forth, the municipalities like the city of Stillwater, even Meridian Technology Center, school systems and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity actually to go to work in those areas as well.
Okay, Mr. Snowden, what about your students when they graduate? What's kind of their career path, or what do some of your students do whenever they have completed your program?
Whenever they've completed my program, most of them, some of them I've got, I even put some on the job training. They'll go to work for contractors in there once when they've completed X amount of their curriculum and their labs. They'll go out and they'll see actually what a real contractor does during a daily basis. But I've got students that are basically they are employed in just a regular residential where they're doing they're technicians, or they could be installers out there. I've got guys that do nothing but refrigeration work where they work on ice machines, they work on walk-in coolers. I've got guys, like they said, like Mr. Ford said, they went to the union, but they went in the sheet metal area. They never see anything but sheet metal. Usually these are in the big places that you see, like the Devon Center, different things. So we also I've got, several of the guys that do, like Mr. Pickens said, they'll begin just doing heat and air maintenance on an apartment building. They're hired by, there's different management companies here in town that hire nothing but heat and air people to go out and work on their own equipment. So the paths that you take, and I try to get you into the field, or a wide variety of those fields, to see what you're best suited for. I'm trying to find what that student or what you would want to do in the field that fits best for you. And I think here at Meridian, and that's everybody that's here, we try to fit you into that best area where you're going to be successful. We want you to be successful, and we work really hard to do that.
Okay. And I
That's
know
a great point, Mr. Snowden.
one of the things that we do at Meridian is not only in the classroom or in your lab area, your work area. We also do some leadership activities and get students involved in career tech student organizations. Mr. Ford, if you wouldn't mind, kind of just maybe hit on what career tech student organization your students are a part of, and just kind of what are some of the things that they can do through that CTSO.
Well, I think really looking at everybody here that's in this group, Scott, everybody here is part of Skills USA. And so Mr. Snowden is heading up Skills USA, and then I am co-chair this year. And so basically it's our job to kind of head that up for the school, but it's a student-run organization. And what I love about it is that the students can get in there, they can guide this program which way they want to, as far as the leadership. But the students, a lot of times when the students come into class, they only know the aspect of competitions, getting out there and doing competitions. But there's a whole lot more to these CTSOs than just competitions. They provide a whole lot more opportunities for that student to become better themselves. One of the things that I always like to tell my students is that when you are in that class and you are surrounded by 20 other people that are sitting there, you have to do something that's going to pull you out to make you look better, a brighter shining star than anybody else in that room. And
Right.
that CTSO is going to be part of that, being a part of leadership. It's a whole lot easier to sell yourself to an employer because you went to compete in a competition. You went over here for leadership skills. You've done some job skill demonstrations. It's going to show that employer that you are leadership material. That is something that every student needs, and I highly suggest that any student that comes into my classroom, and I know Mr. Pickens and Mr. Bowles and Mr. Snowden talks the same game, is that what we want is we want to prepare our students for the workforce, and we want to give them every opportunity. By not taking that avenue, the students are putting themselves at a disadvantage. But CTSOs are wonderful. They are there to help the students progress and to be everything that an employer is looking for.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ford. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, last question. We just have a few minutes here left. Last question. This is for everybody. We'll let Mr. Pickens start. What do you love about Meridian Technology Center?
That is such an awesome question. I think if I had just think about that, just the professional professional attitude of all the people that work here, the facilities are absolutely second to none. I think you could go anywhere in the United States and not find a better facility or better leadership for what we do. It's an incredible place, not only to work, but more so even for students. There's not one thing I can think of that we do not do at Meridian to help students have an opportunity. And so that's what I would say.
Okay, Mr. Snowden, what do you love about Meridian?
Well, like Mr. Pickens said, I think we go, I think everybody here at Meridian, we try to go above and beyond as much as we possibly can. We do care about the student. We do care about what we're teaching them. We want to make their future brighter. We want to give them that opportunity to grow and be successful. We just want them to have success while they're here. And I think with the instructors that we have down here, they are top notch. All of my co-instructors are here that they're excellent in their field, and they show that over and over.
Okay, Mr. Ford, what do you love about Meridian?
You know, Scott, I think it's the emphasis on the students. Meridian puts the students out there. We put the students first. Their education is paramount as far as what we're doing here. Every one of us, Mr. Pickens, Mr. Bowles, Mr. Snowden, and myself, we're all individual professionals in our field. The school provides us with what we need to get our students trained for the job site. It's never been based upon, since I've been here, it's never been based upon making the students get by with what you have. I know in the electrical field, we go through a lot of wire, we go through a lot of pipe. Mistakes are made, and once that mistake is made, it has to go away. So we get another piece. We get another piece of wire, another piece of pipe, to make sure that student knows how to do it when they leave here. And so the emphasis, I can say, is definitely on the student.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Bowles, what do you love about Meridian Technology Center?
Oh, I'll just say ditto to what Brett and Travis and Wayne. No.
Okay.
Well, for example, the house project that we're building, that is a big capital expenditure. Well, why are we doing that? We took a little bit of time off and tried some other training aspects and have determined that students are missing the boat, a little bit, and in their training. And so we brought the house back because if you're training carpenter, there's really no substitute for being out there in the middle of a project and fighting the elements and the job site itself, and up to your ankles in mud, and you're still putting stuff together. But it's also a beautiful thing that students can take away from here. Not only are they developing those skill sets they need to be successful in the field, they have a great project to look back on. And it's, when you get in the truck or the bus at the end of the day, you can turn around and see the fruits of your labor. So to me, that kind of commitment from Meridian, our administration, and support that we have for that speaks volumes about how much we care about our students and the success that we're training them for. And like everybody has said, the students they're our top priority. That's why that's why we come to work every day. Because we each one of us love the trade that we've spent our life doing. And then the other part of that is we really, really love or enjoy sharing what we know with others that are eager to learn it. And I don't know, it's just, to me, it's one of the most rewarding things that you can do. And we have a great support team here at Meridian, and that's at all levels across the board. It's great.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Bowles. And guys, Mr. Pickens, Mr. Snowden, Mr. Ford, Mr. Bowles, thank you all very much for just telling us a little bit about your program and just giving us a little more information, answering some questions. We really appreciate it. To all of our students out there, thank you as well for joining us this evening. And we want to just thank you and your families for showing interest in Meridian Technology Center. We want to also make sure that you are aware that on January the 26th, we are having a future student and parent virtual open house. And so you can go to the meridiantech.edu/visit page and find information about that. And so we encourage you to do that. We encourage you to join us so that we can, again, answer any questions that you might have and just allow you to get to know our programs just a little bit better. Now, over the last week or so, you should have received a guide to tech in the mail along with a yellow application. And if you decide that you want to apply at Meridian Technology Center, which we hope that you will, we encourage you to get that application filled out. If you are a student at a high school, turn that application into your high school counselor. If you are a homeschool student or a virtual student, then you can turn that application into Meridian Technology Center, into the Career Planning Center. After your application has been turned into your counselor, a member from Meridian Technology Center will come to your campus, usually sometime in the middle of February, and we'll sit down and we'll do an interview with you. We'll just figure out, is this the correct program for you? Is this the right direction that you're wanting to do in your career aspirations? Just get to know you a little bit better. And so we'll do that sometime middle of February. And then we usually have our acceptance letters sent out and allow all of our students to know if they've been accepted to Meridian Technology Center sometime late March, early April. And so that's kind of our time frame of when everyone will know information about our enrollment or application and enrollment process. Again, everyone, we thank you for your time. Instructors, we thank you for your time this evening. If you have any additional questions, feel free to go back to that meridiantech.edu/visit page and the Ask Me Anything tab and place your question in that tab. We will then forward that to our instructors and get those questions answered. Guys, again, thank you all very much for your time. I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, Scott.